Well, wealth is not an accident. It's a law. You do not stumble into riches any more than you stumble into gravity. The same universal forces that hold the stars in place govern the flow of money, opportunity, and success into your life. The tragedy is that most people work harder at violating these laws than they do at obeying them. Today, I'll reveal the hidden rules that determine whether you attract abundance or repel it without even knowing it. Master them and the world will bend in your favor. Let me take you inside the first and perhaps the most important of these laws, the law of definiteness of purpose. You see, most men and women drift through life like ships without a rudder, tossed about by every wind of circumstance, every current of opinion, every tide of fear. They wish for wealth. They daydream about freedom. They talk endlessly about what they might do if fortune never smiled upon them. But they have never sat down, even once, to decide with absolute clarity what it is they truly want, when they want it, and what they are willing to exchange in return. They are like a farmer who walks into an empty field with a handful of random seeds and no plan for a harvest, then curses the heavens when no golden wheat grows. Nature responds only to definite, planted, nurtured intention. When you fix your mind upon a clear objective, you give direction to every force within you. Your subconscious mind, that silent but powerful partner, begins to organize thoughts, hunches, and opportunities that align with your purpose. People call this coincidence, luck, or fate, but it is none of those things. It is law, plain and simple. Whatever you feed your mind with sustained desire and precise direction becomes magnetized, and the universe arranges circumstances to match it. Think of a businessman who decides he will create a transportation company within 2 years that serves 10,000 customers. His every conversation, his every observation, his every decision begins to turn like a compass toward that outcome. Opportunities others overlook stand out like beacons. Resources that once seemed invisible come into view. Even setbacks serve as instructions rather than defeats. But make no mistake, definiteness of purpose does not mean idle wishing. A wish is weak. It floats in and out of the mind like a passing cloud. A definite purpose is a burning desire mixed with faith, so clear and so persistent that it drives away doubt. It is written down, spoken aloud, and carried like a secret fire in the heart. It demands action, not merely intention. Once you know precisely what you want, the question of what to do each day becomes simple. You do the thing that moves you closer. You stop scattering your energy across a dozen unrelated pursuits. You no longer entertain every invitation, every distraction, every trivial demand that pulls you off course. Your purpose becomes the filter through which all decisions pass, and it gives power to every step you take. Most failures in the pursuit of wealth are not the result of a lack of intelligence, opportunity, or even effort. They stem from divided attention, from chasing too many rabbits at once, from starting and stopping 100 ventures without ever seeing one through. The man with a single unwavering aim outpaces the clever wanderer 10 to 1. When your mind is made up, truly made up, the world senses it. People trust and follow conviction. Banks lend to it. Fortune itself seems to lean toward it. A definite purpose cuts through hesitation like a blade through fog, and others respond to that clarity in ways that surprise even the one who holds it. You may wonder, how does one find such a purpose? It begins with honest self-examination. Strip away what you think you should want. Ignore what society insists is valuable. Look instead to what stirs you deeply. What calls out even when you are tired? What you would gladly work for in the dark before any reward shows itself. Then, once identified, put a stake in the ground. Decide on a specific goal. Put numbers, dates, and details to it. Write it where you will see it morning and night. Speak it until it becomes part of your very identity. Guard it from the voices of doubt, whether they rise within you or arrive from the lips of others. Do not alter it at the first sign of difficulty. Adjust the plan, never the purpose. In time, the world begins to arrange itself around that decision. The right people appear, the right idea surface. A door closes here, but another opens there, often in a place you had never thought to look. You move with a quiet confidence because you are no longer drifting. You are navigating. Even temporary defeat loses its sting, for you measure every event against the single question. Does this move me toward or away from my purpose? That one question simplifies 1,000 dilemmas and gives courage where confusion once ruled. Remember this, riches in any form, material or spiritual, are shy. They do not approach the uncertain. They do not linger with the indecisive. They are drawn, almost irresistibly, to the individual who knows what they want, believes they can have it, and moves forward with relentless intention. Decide what you desire. Hold it in your mind with the firmness of a mountain against the wind. Act upon it daily. The universe respects decisiveness and rewards it with abundance. Everything in this universe is in motion. Even the table before you, which appears solid and still, is alive with vibration at the microscopic level. Nothing is fixed, nothing is stagnant, and your thoughts are no exception. They move, they radiate, they send out signals that the world cannot ignore. The law of mental vibration tells us that the state of your mind determines the state of your circumstances. Whatever you hold, nurture, and repeat in thought attracts its likeness from the unseen and eventually gives it shape in the physical world. This is not superstition. It is not the indulgence of dreamers. It is law. Think for a moment about the people who seem blessed with opportunity. They walk into a room and doors open, conversations flow, deals are made. Others equally skilled, equally intelligent, somehow find only obstacles. Why? The difference lies in the vibration they carry. A mind steeped in doubt, worry, or resentment projects a subtle repelling force. People may not know why they hesitate to trust or cooperate, but they feel it. A mind charged with enthusiasm, courage, and confidence exerts an equal and opposite pull. Like tuning forks set to the same note, like energies harmonize. If you wake each day rehearsing failure in your imagination, expecting setbacks, anticipating rejection, you set your vibration to poverty long before you step into the world. Life will match it faithfully. You will recognize difficulty in every direction and interpret every event as proof of what you already fear. If, instead, you begin with a deliberate choice to think in terms of abundance, service, and growth, you set a higher tone. You begin to notice possibilities where before there were only problems. You draw to yourself people who share that frequency, and together you build the conditions for wealth. This is why idle complaining is more dangerous than most imagine. Each complaint, repeated often enough, becomes a thread in the fabric of your belief, and belief hardens into circumstance. Guard your conversation, both with others and within your own mind. Speak not of defeat unless you wish to meet it. Speak instead of the future you intend to create, of the values you wish to uphold, of the opportunities you expect to uncover. The world does not resist a determined mind. It reflects it. To use this law deliberately, you must first observe yourself. Catch the tone of your inner dialogue. Are you secretly holding grudges while outwardly seeking partnership? Are you quietly doubting your own ability while loudly talking about ambition?
The vibration of your true state, not your words, signals the world.
It calls forth the people, the events, the resources that match it. Align the hidden conversation with the spoken intention, and you remove resistance. It is not enough to imagine wealth in moments of enthusiasm, then return to fear as soon as the room grows quiet. The vibration must be sustained. You feed it through daily focus, through surrounding yourself with people and ideas that strengthen your confidence, through actions that confirm to your own mind that you are serious. When you take a step, even a small one, toward your goal, you reinforce the vibration of progress. When you hesitate, doubt grows like weeds. Do not confuse this principle with wishful thinking. Thought alone without action is a seed on stone. It will not take root. A thought charged with emotion, backed by faith, and expressed through persistent action becomes a signal so strong that the universe bends to meet it. In time, circumstances begin to arrange themselves in ways you could not have planned. A conversation overheard sparks an idea. A person you barely knew offers the connection you needed. A problem reveals itself as the very test required to prepare you for a larger responsibility. Every fortune begins in the invisible, in thought vibrating with purpose, and held steady long enough to become a pattern. You cannot hold wealth in the mind and poverty in the heart. You cannot reach upward while clinging to bitterness, envy, or fear. Choose the mental state that matches the life you desire and return to it every day, every hour if necessary, until it becomes natural. The world will respond as faithfully as the echo responds to the call. Direct your vibration and you direct your destiny. There are no accidents in the creation of wealth, no mysterious hands scattering fortunes at random. Everything that happens in your life, every rise and fall, every gain and loss is tied to a cause. The law of cause and effect is as unchangeable as gravity, and it governs riches with the same precision it governs the turning of the planets. If you study the lives of the wealthy, you will see patterns, decisions, habits, attitudes, all of them causes that produced effects. The rest of the world sees only the effect, the money, the influence, the freedom, and calls it luck, privilege, timing. They miss the quiet, deliberate chain of causes that built it. When you plant wheat, you do not harvest corn. When you pour water on fertile soil, you do not reap stones. Likewise, when you sow discipline, vision, and service, you cannot help but harvest reward, even if time delays the season. Many people violate this law every day. They seek to reap without planting, to enjoy without contributing, to collect interest on accounts they never opened. They spend hours in idleness, then wonder why no progress greets them. They treat opportunity with carelessness, then curse the universe for being unfair. They fail to see that every action, every choice, every thought is a seed, and nature is perfectly just in returning to them a harvest of like kind. To use this law to your advantage, you must become intentional about the causes you set in motion. Each decision you make is not a single act, but the opening of a chain of effects, some immediate, others delayed, all inevitable. A single phone call can alter the course of a career. A single conversation handled with tact or with temper can shape a partnership that either grows or dies. The smallest improvement in habit, reading instead of gossip, planning instead of drifting, saving instead of wasting, compounds into fortunes. But the opposite is also true. Neglect a small responsibility and watch it swell into a crisis. Delay a necessary action and watch opportunity close its doors. The law does not care whether you are aware of it. It operates whether you acknowledge it or not. Do not imagine that thinking alone satisfies this law. Thought is cause, yes, but only when expressed through action. A brilliant plan unexecuted remains a dormant seed, full of potential but producing nothing. A man may understand markets better than any competitor, yet if he never moves, never invests, never risks, he will remain where he is. The world rewards not ideas alone, but ideas applied. The wealth you desire is the effect. The cause is the steady, intelligent, courageous action in the direction of that desire. Sometimes the distance between cause and effect discourages people. They plant today and expect to harvest tomorrow. And when no fruit appears, they abandon the field. They forget that nature operates on her own schedule. You do not dig up the seed every morning to see if it is growing. You water it, you tend it, you trust the law to deliver in due time. Wealth behaves the same way. The early hours, the sleepless nights, the investments of energy and capital may seem invisible to others, even unrewarded for a season. But they are accumulating effect beneath the surface. Then often suddenly the results appear and those who doubted you call it a miracle. It is no miracle. It is cause meeting effect. This law also explains why blame and envy are wasted emotions. If another person enjoys great riches, they have sown causes you have not yet sown or have not yet tended. To resent them is to turn your focus away from your own field. Better to study them, to learn what causes they set in motion, and to plant likewise with your own character in circumstances in mind. Nature is impartial. It favors no man. It simply delivers what has been earned. If you envy another's fruit, plant your own tree. Remember also that every setback has a cause, and therefore every setback can be corrected. If a business fails, it is not punishment. It is a message. Somewhere a wrong seed was planted or a right one neglected. Correct the cause and the effect must change. That is the beauty of this law. It gives you control. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are at the mercy of your own choices. Understand this, and you will no longer wander, waiting for wealth to appear. You will act with the calm confidence of a farmer who knows that a season of labor will always bring a harvest. You will stop asking if riches will come and start asking only when, because with the right causes in place, the effects are certain. Nothing moves in isolation. Every action touches another. Every gesture sends ripples outward, and those ripples return to their source. This is the essence of reciprocity, the invisible balance that governs all exchange. You cannot take endlessly and expect to receive. You cannot give generously and fail to be rewarded. Nature despises imbalance. It will correct it often in ways no human plan could predict. Wealth, opportunity, influence. They all flow through channels of exchange. To receive, you must first offer. To hold on to what you have, you must keep it moving. Too many people try to hoard before they have served, to demand before they have contributed. They wait for the world to reward them simply for existing, forgetting that even the earth itself produces only after being cultivated. A man who plants no seed will walk his field in vain, no matter how fervently he hopes. Likewise, a merchant who demands loyalty without earning trust will watch his customers vanish, and a leader who commands respect without giving guidance will see his followers scatter. The law does not bend for pride, ego, or position. It simply restores balance. When you give more than you are paid for, when you serve without keeping score, you trigger forces far beyond the immediate exchange. The person you help today may be the one who opens a door for you tomorrow. The kindness you show a stranger may return in a form you never imagined. The service you provide to your customers beyond their expectation builds a reputation that travels faster than any advertisement. Even when the return does not come through the same person or channel, it comes because imbalance cannot endure. Nature must close the gap. This law also teaches us that stinginess is a silent destroyer. The man who withholds value in an effort to save a penny often loses a fortune. The employer who squeezes every ounce from his workers without regard for their well-being plans seeds of resentment and turnover that cost him dearly. The seller who cuts corners on quality to preserve margin destroys trust, and with it, the foundation of his future profits. Holding too tightly not only stops the flow of wealth outward, it blocks its path inward. Money, like water, stagnates when it is trapped. It must circulate to stay alive. Generosity, when intelligent, creates power. It builds alliances, loyalty, goodwill, forms of capital no balance sheet fully records, but every fortune relies upon. It sets you apart in a world trained to calculate every move in self-interest. People remember how you made them feel long after they forget what you charged them. Those memories, held in the minds of the many, become unseen advocates for your future. Do not misunderstand. Reciprocity is not charity. It is not giving without judgment or scattering effort where it cannot take root. It is intelligent contribution. It is giving with purpose, with faith that the cycle will return multiplied. It is investing in relationships, in service, in excellence, knowing that every action calls forth a reaction of like nature. You may not always control the timing, but you can always control the cause, and the effect will follow. There will be times when you feel as though you give and give while receiving little in return. In those moments, remember the harvest does not always arrive in the same season as the planting. Some of the greatest fortunes were born of years of unseen contribution. The day will come when doors swing open in surprising places, when introductions, opportunities, and alliances appear as if by magic. It is no magic. It is the law completing its circuit. Approach every interaction with this question. How can I leave this person, this customer, this partner better than I found them? If you make that your standard, wealth in all its forms, financial, social, spiritual, will find its way to you. You will no longer chase success. It will come seeking you, compelled by the invisible balance that rules all exchange. The world rarely hands its treasures to the first one who knocks. More often, it tests the knock, listening to see whether it is the tap of curiosity or the hammering of conviction. Every worthwhile achievement demands proof that you will not abandon it at the first sign of difficulty. This is where persistence and faith intertwine. Persistence keeps you moving when the path feels endless. Faith gives you reason to take the next step even when you cannot yet see where it leads. Together, they form a force strong enough to carve through resistance, circumstance, and even the doubts of others. Look at any person who has built a fortune, created a movement, or changed an industry. You will find, without exception, that their path was not a straight climb, but a series of tests. Plans failed, partners left, markets shifted. At times, the world seemed determined to say no, and yet they kept moving, not blindly, but with the quiet conviction no temporary defeat had the power to decide the final outcome. They learned from each failure, adjusted, and pressed forward. They understood what so many never grasp. A single setback is not the same as a permanent loss. Defeat is a signal to change the approach, not to quit the mission. Persistence is not mere stubbornness. It is intelligent, flexible determination. It recognizes when a door is locked but looks for the window, When the bridge is out, it seeks another route. It stays alive because it is fed by faith, the deep, unshakable belief that the goal is possible and worthy. Without faith, persistence collapses under the weight of fatigue and doubt. With faith, every obstacle becomes temporary. Every delay becomes a test of readiness. Every challenge becomes a lesson in disguise. Faith itself is a choice. It is not waiting for circumstances to become perfect. It is deciding to act in spite of imperfection. It is believing in the harvest before you see the sprout, trusting that the work you do in darkness will be honored in the light. This faith does not demand arrogance. It calls for discipline. It asks you to speak and act as if what you desire is already on its way, and then to work as though its arrival depends entirely on your effort. It keeps the vision alive in your mind when the world seems eager to bury it. Many people fail not because their dream is impossible, but because they surrender too soon. They stop 3 feet from gold, weary from the digging, blind to how close they truly are. The temptation to quit often reaches its peak just before the breakthrough. Those who persist through that moment, who refuse to be shaken loose by discouragement or delay, find that what once seemed distant suddenly rushes toward them. What took years of invisible labor can arrive in what feels like a single stroke of fortune, though in truth it is the accumulation of countless unseen causes finally meeting their effect. This will also guard you against the opinions of others, strengthens you when friends doubt, when critics mock, when even your own inner voice begins to whisper that perhaps it cannot be done. If you allow the noise of the world to outweigh the signal of your own belief, you will stop moving, and the opportunity will pass to someone who kept walking, says. But when you hold fast to your vision, not with arrogance, but with quiet certainty, the world eventually begins to reflect that belief back to you. People sense conviction. They respond to it. Investors, partners, allies, even strangers lean toward the one who clearly knows where they are going and intends to get there. There is a quiet power in the one who cannot be moved from their purpose. They become like a river carving stone, slow but unstoppable. Time, resistance, even failure bends before them. They understand that the universe rewards persistence not because of sympathy, but because persistence proves worthiness. Only those willing to pay the price and patience and adaptation in unwavering effort can be trusted with great success. Hold fast. Keep moving. Believe without ceasing. Act without surrender. The combination of persistence and faith will move mountains that the timid dare not climb, and in the end, it will deliver the riches that once seemed far beyond your reach. Every journey toward wealth, freedom, or influence begins with understanding, and understanding is powerless without action. You have now seen how purpose gives direction, how vibration sets the tone, how cause and effect guarantee results, how reciprocity restores balance, and how persistence with faith ensures that no obstacle can hold back what you have truly earned. These laws do not care who you are, where you were born, or what you have suffered. They are impartial, unbending, and always at work. If you align with them, you will rise. If you ignore them, you will drift, no matter how hard you try. The decision is yours. Plant the right causes, hold fast to your definite purpose. Keep your mind in harmony with the riches you seek, and refuse to quit until your desire becomes reality. When you do, wealth in every form will meet you halfway, drawn by the same universal laws that have quietly controlled every fortune since the beginning of time.